Hello and welcome to another episode of Contemporary Living. So if you watched our show last week, you guys know that I was daydreaming a little bit. So before the last commercial was on, Andre said, quit daydreaming. So I am here. I started on time, Andre. So I am ready today. You did not catch me, sir.
Yeah, I had to make sure I didn't catch you off guard. Hey, I'm excited. We got a great show lined up for us today.
We do.
I am very excited. Actually, we should probably have these guests on about a few years ago.
We really should have. We should have had these guests on a long time ago when we were just on the Comcast network.
Yes, but now's the time. So
now is the
God's
time.
timing is everything, and now's the time to have them on our show tonight.
Absolutely. All right.
Okay,
so
before we get started.
I just wanted to say,
I guess I'm moving too quick.
Yeah, you are moving out, brother.
Yeah.
What I wanted to talk about was the weather, because that's important. It's you guys. It's muggy. It's hot out here. I hope you are enjoying this summer weather as much as we are. So we just had a wine event.
Yeah, we had a wine event.
It was very successful, and now we are here with you. We thank you for showing up and being a part of our program today.
Yeah,
now,
I think the next show, maybe I'll show a little footage of the event and show some pictures as well.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
All right. So before we get started, as always, we thank you for tuning in to Contemporary Living, where we provide lifestyle solutions for everyday people. Don't forget, if you want to be a guest on our show, you can always send us an email at farminghill@gmail.com. As you know, my wife is a retired military veteran, and I'm a realtor with Realty One Group XL. And our guest tonight will be talking about Realty One XL tonight. Also, you may be watching us now on Facebook. Please share this video. Or if you haven't subscribed to us on YouTube, please follow us on YouTube at Contemporary Living with Farming Hill, where we are streaming live right now on YouTube as well and Facebook Live. Also, you can download the E360 app. We're streaming live on E360 app on E360 television tonight, where we are broadcasting worldwide. You can download the app on Roku, the Amazon Fire, Apple TV. If you have an iPhone, you can download the E360 app on the iPhone. and the Android as well. And remember, we come on every other Sunday at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time on E360 Television. And if you're in the Chicagoland area, we come on Comcast each and every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, and in the South Chicago suburbs, and also we come on in Northwest Indiana as well, reaching over 1 million homes. So I'm not going to prolong it. I'm going to turn it back over to my wife as we get started tonight.
Thank you. So our guest tonight, like we said, they should have come on a long time ago. We are just so happy that, like you said, Andre, God's timing is everything. So this is the perfect moment for them to be here with us today. So Paul and Tina have been married for almost 25 years and worked together in real estate since 2012. Paul began his real estate career in 2002 as a part-time agent, working alongside his day job in a different career. Tina worked in the commercial real estate industry full-time, and in 2012, they decided to combine their skills and begin their own real estate and property management company, helping investors during the last recession. Since then, they have grown their business together, franchised their real estate company, and expanded their focus into helping others also use the vehicle of real estate as a financial resource. Ladies and gentlemen, none other than Paul and Tina Kempa.
Hello.
Hey guys. It's good to see you.
Hey, thanks for joining us. We appreciate you guys for taking time out your busy schedule for joining us tonight. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, it's been a long time, right?
I know, a long time coming. We're just so happy that you guys are here. So I'm going to kick off the questions. Did you have something else to say, Andre?
You know what? Before we get started, I always like to tell people how we met.
That's a good story.
Yeah. So the story goes like this. So I met Paul. I was doing Paul inspections in South Village for years. Section 8 inspections for a lot of properties they manage in the South suburbs. And one day I was doing Paul inspection, and we got on the discussion about being a leasing agent. So my thing was always how to get, always get that second stream of income. So I kept hearing about being a leasing agent. And Paul, I don't think I failed Paul too much on a lot of his inspections. I think his properties were kept up pretty good. Even if he did fail, he made sure he took care of the issues. Right. But long story short, Paul he's always cool, calm, collective. We got on a discussion about becoming a leasing agent with, at that time, Kempa Realty. He said, let me talk to my wife, Tina, and we'll see what she says. And he got back with me the same day and said, yes, it's a go. So from that point on, I went and got my license, became a leasing agent. And so here it is, over 6 years later, I'm still with them, but this time as a realtor. So that's how I met Paul. And then eventually I met Tina as well. So that's how we know each other.
And I came along. It's so funny.
Yes.
I came along because when I met Andre, actually, I was getting my leasing agent's license. So I got my leasing agent's license. Paul introduced. I got all my names mixed up today. Andre introduced me into Tina and Paul, and it's just been great ever since. So
yes.
I'm just happy.
So thank you guys. So that's the story. So everybody know how we came together now. All right. So go ahead, man.
We're gonna get into the questions. So everyone knows the story of how me and Andre met. So we want to know how you two met.
Yes. Don't tell me you forgot, Paul.
No. You know how you say God always has a plan in the right place at the right time. Mm-hmm. Well, this was one of those situations. So both of us, we had a mutual friend, Rick, and he's like, "You got to go out." And I'm like, I'm really tired. I don't want to go out. I think you were kind of saying the same thing. I don't want to go out. We just kind of dragging our feet. We both meet up, and then that was it. For both people that didn't want to go out, we had a great time, and then just started seeing each other after that.
Wow, and then that's 25 years.
25 years later, huh?
25 years married, 28. We dated for 3 years, so yeah.
That's a long time. Yeah.
Paul took you 3 years to propose, huh? You had to be sure.
I was young.
So Paul, I gotta ask you guys, what made you get into real estate, and what were you guys doing before then? I know, I think Tina was doing some commercial real estate prior.
I started out in administrative work, and then I fell into commercial real estate department, and then I just had a great mentor that worked with me and encouraged me to go that route. Before that, though, you had different career.
Yeah, I was doing consulting work. I did a lot of stuff with unrelated. It was with insurance, health and welfare benefits with unions, things like that. And I would negotiate contracts, stuff like that. So completely different. Although I had the negotiation part of it for a role, which kind of spilled over into real estate, but it was a much different industry for sure. So, and then one of the how we got involved was at the time we were living in Berwyn. We had some friends, Chris and Joe. They were out in Naperville, and I always we always liked real estate. I would always help a couple of real estate agents fix their houses. They needed help with things. They would always come to us, and we would help them out. And Chris was like, you really should get into real estate. And at the beginning, you don't realize what real estate is. You think, this is fun. I get to see really nice houses and you make money, but it's not that easy.
That's what she did.
Yeah, that's what she did. Yeah, that's what Chris did. So, I got into the business that way. And it's funny because I only got into the business. It's like, I always felt I always had to have two things going on at once in case something didn't work out. Right. So I was always of the habit of having, two jobs, two streams of income at least. Right. So
I think we were fortunate to have friends introduce us into that whole concept early on. We were still really young. I think when we first got married, so we were like 25. We had these friends who were older and wiser, and they introduced us into this different way of thinking, because we were definitely, you go to school, you get a job, and that's what you do. They really helped us to expand our thinking beyond that, and helped us to even just start the process of thinking maybe I could do something else.
Yeah, it definitely did think differently, and I know being a little, as young as I can, hold a wagon behind me. I remember always being entrepreneurial, where I would take a wagon. I had to be 4 or 5 years old, go to the neighbors, ask for old newspapers, bottles, or cans, and then we would recycle them. And then that kind of progressed. Me and my buddy Jim, we cut lawns in high school. So we were always doing something, to make money, right? We always wanted to have a business, and never really knew the right way to do it until we kind of came across, Chris and Joe, and that's really how we got involved into the real estate part of it.
Okay.
How did you know when it was time to break off to do your own? Because I know you came in, you worked up under somebody as a broker, and then at some point you had to decide that, look, okay, we need our own.
Well, I think what was happening is the industry started changing. So I work with two national companies, big national companies. Everybody knows who they are. And what ended up happening is when you work with a large national company, you don't always get paid 100% of your income, right? You're producing, you get a small piece of it, half of it, 70% of it, whatever it might be, and the corporation gets a huge chunk of it. So you're doing all the work, not keeping all your money. So we decided, this doesn't make sense. We had a small property management business, so that was not allowed to be done on your own without having the brokerage be part of it, or if they would allow you to do it at all, right? That was kind of the tipping point that said, you know what, we need to do it on our own.
Do it on your own.
For me, we were at a crossroads. Like I mentioned, it was a really rough recession at that time. So at that time in a career in business, it was kind of like it's kind of like the buyer's market is now, but it was for your job. So if you wanted to keep your job, you basically had to do anything that they said to keep your job. So we were, because there was people lined up to take your job if you didn't want to, play ball. So I was in a position where I was looking at promoting, and the next step for me was going to be regional work, which meant I had to travel. So we decided as a family it would be better for us to maybe go off on our own and start a business where we could be together and be at home. I could still be at home than having me maybe travel nationally quite a bit. So it kind of was like, it's all the pieces have to fall together.
Yes.
That's kind of how it happened.
So you've gone through the recession. You're more you've got your entrepreneurship. You've got your business running. So now you are Kempa Realty is now part of the franchise of Realty One Excel. So now, how did you come to that decision?
So that was a God moment.
Yes.
That was a God moment.
Well, tell us how God was working and operating.
Right. I'm telling you.
Yeah. So I guess to back up a little bit, what we decided when we started our company, we had a specific idea in mind of what kind of company we wanted to be. So I had worked for a national company, and I had been working with companies that were very focused on profit. My clients were very focused on profit. And I was seeing people in the recession who had property. They were people like us, and they wanted to, they weren't being represented well. And I had these skills, and he had his skills, and we thought, we could use these skills to help real people rather than companies, be successful. So that was always our mission. Yeah. And then but we didn't have real brokerage experience. So our brokerage was always really small, and we just didn't really know how to run a brokerage. Like he said, he was working for national companies, but he was just kind of a cog in the wheel. He wasn't involved in the administrative part of it or anything. So he didn't know how they really ran. So this franchise came that had the same values, the same, focus. They wanted to change up the industry. They wanted to be more agent focused. It was all the stuff that we wanted to be, but didn't have the resources for. So it was, again, a match made in heaven, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You want to ask the next question, bro?
Yeah. So now, what's the hardest part? So now you've got the business going. So what's the hardest part about property management and dealing with investors and things like that?
Well, and it's funny because we have so many different parts of the business, right? So, it's interesting. So right now, there's a whole, obviously with eviction moratoriums and stuff like that, we have to navigate through all the laws and stuff. And we're constantly on the phone with the attorneys because it seems like they change the rules every 2-3 weeks. So we learn all the new rules, and we have to go through that stuff. And then you have the tenants. There's going to always, just like everything else, there's going to be good tenants, bad tenants, and you have to navigate through what the right thing to do is. And we've kind of always taken the perspective of we always want to help people out. That's kind of why we got into business, because we can help people out, and we give them opportunity. And should they choose to take that route, that's up to them. So that's kind of on the property management side. So we have a good staff. Obviously, you guys are on staff, which and having the right people in the right place and that have the skills, because I don't have the skills that you guys have. So that makes it much easier for me to do my part of the whole picture. You guys are excellent what you do because that's what you do. You know what I mean? And once we put all those people in place, it works out really well. And then we have the brokerage side of it, right? So the brokerage side is now, you have independent contractors that want to make money because they're in business for themselves. So the nice thing is we've been able to provide so many more tools, so many more ways, education, everything that we can now give them. You're in business for yourself. You should get all your money, right?
Yeah.
Right.
You should be getting the money rather than having to take a 50% or a 70% out of, the commission.
Mm.
Run the business. We're here to help you. Whatever you need help with, we're here to help you. So it is interesting. There's the tasks of legal. There's the tasks of dealing with the state, dealing with accounting. There's all that stuff on the management side, and then on the realty side, it's like, all right, everybody has a different personality.
Yeah.
Now you're dealing with people. It's like, okay, what may work for you isn't going to work for Melissa, isn't going to work for anybody else. You need to find what's right for them, just in normal conversations, right?
Right.
And okay, we know this works for you based on your personality, right?
Mhm.
And then we just provide the right track, whether it's tools, whatever trainings, whatever it might be, and then you kind of go off your way. We monitor, and then doing all that stuff. So it's less, I don't want to say less physical, but it's definitely a lot more mental on the brokerage side for sure.
Communication seems to be the key too. I mean, because you have to, like you said, you have to know people's personality and see what would work for them, what wouldn't work for them. So there's a lot going on there.
Yeah, I definitely like how you really brought out something that I think we overlooked was the contractor aspect of it. And of course, me and Paul, we dealing with contractors all day, every day. And to be able to employ those contractors, to send them work to do, to keep their business going and stuff like that, man, it's a beautiful thing, and that's a great service that you provide for contractors that's out there.
Right, and it's funny because when you think about it, we provide so many people with income. Right.
Yeah.
So when we go to the subcontractor that's going to do the air conditioner, which that now supplies 3 other workers, when you start looking at that, that's always kind of been our mission. When we started is we want to be able to employ people, to provide them with an opportunity so that they can become successful. Right.
Yeah.
Well, you definitely have this opportunity.
I'm sorry. We have this shingle with the name on it, but we've always kind of been very team focused and, want to bring people in, and everybody has their own set of skills that all of us working together, we can all get a piece of the pie and do good things, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, yeah, you guys definitely have been a blessing to us.
Absolutely.
Because I work on 2 sides of the spectrum with you guys as well. So I work at the real estate side, and then I deal with the maintenance side as well. So we appreciate that. We appreciate what you guys do for us as well. So I gotta ask you, because we got investors watching, we got owners watching, and they may decide, look, we like Paul and Tina Kempa, we may want them to manage for us. So the number one question is, how do y'all figure out, or how do y'all calculate the fees that's associated with that if you decide to property manage for someone? What do you look at to determine far as what the owner's going to pay monthly far as having you manage their properties?
So we started off years ago. There was kind of an industry standard. Most people go off of a percentage. We are at 10%. We just charge 10% of the rent of receivables, and that's all we do. So we also don't mark up anything. So when our vendors, so one of the things that we offer is that we have a network of vendors that we've worked with, as you mentioned, for years, right? So we help keep these people employed, and by volume, we receive discounts because they get a lot of work from us. So you might have 2 properties, but we're working with 50 other people that have properties, and that volume equates to us getting discounts, and we pass that off to our customers, because we never wanted to be anybody that marked up and nickel and dime people. So we charge a service fee of 10% every month, and then that's it. And then we just pass everything along, because again, our goal was always that our clients be successful. That's why they're investing,
Right. I think that's just it's so refreshing
Mm-hmm.
to hear because now you've got people they're nickel and diming, the heck out of you. I mean, in big corporations, small corporations, it's like everywhere. Even if you just look at Chicago taxes, you're paying tax on top of tax.
Right.
On tax. It's just a madhouse. So to me, it's just really refreshing to hear, and that's why Andre and I we absolutely love you guys because you guys are the real deal. When they say this is their mission, they mean this is their mission.
Right. And even just speaking on contractors, there has been time where we had to let contractors go because they was charging the high prices. And the thing about it, like Paul was saying, we giving work. We got work orders steady coming through because of the amount of properties we manage.
Yeah.
And then if you're going to charge those high prices, we can't keep you because we got to keep things at a nice cost, of course.
Yeah.
But yet alone, we're providing you with plenty of work to do.
Yeah, and it's kind of our fiduciary responsibility to our clients because we put ourselves in their position because we've had other properties before and we know we've been in their position. So it's like you need to maximize your return on investment, right? You need the cash flow. So if I keep charging you a ridiculous amount of money for a plumbing call or whatever it might be, you're never going to make a profit. If you don't make a profit, you're going to look back to the management company and say, well, they're not doing a really good job because I didn't make any money this year. Right. So that's why when we come in, we set the expectation right up front, with that. And we try to tell them here, this is what we see from other people's mistakes of what would happen. You're going to buy this house that has a hole in the roof. Well, don't Band-Aid it. If you put the roof on, you're good for 25 years. It may cost you a little bit up front, but you never have another call because that's the nickel and dime that comes back with that maintenance.
Because it's actually biblical standard. It's stewardship is what it is.
Stewardship.
We're stewards of,
yes.
We're stewards. So you hire us to help you meet your goals, and we have to watch over what you're spending, and we have to make sure that you're getting. If we hire somebody that's doing a job for you, they need to actually do it, and they need to do it well. They need to do it right, and if they don't come back, all those things. So, but at this point, we've been doing this almost 10 years now, and we have such a great network. Like we don't have anybody that works with us that isn't excellent, so we've just got this thing really working. All of our vendors are tried and true. They are, responsible, caring. We've just been so fortunate to have such a great network that we're working with. But it took us a long time to sift through all of that. Like you said,
wasn't overnight.
Speaking of that, let me give a shout out to Crystal Itini. Crystal, Crystal, because I know she probably deal with all sorts of calls and emails.
She does.
Yeah, she is so sweet and loving.
So we takes care of business. Like when you said excellent, that's exactly what.
And Natalie as well. She's always working hard, and Gianni and Julie, and just the whole squad.
I'm glad you said
we say that. So every time we get to do something together as a team and go any place and we represent our company, we get in the car every time and I say, man, I am so we had the best crew at our table of the whole place. We had the cream of the crop.
Right.
We really do. We really do. We're so blessed.
So I'm glad Andre mentioned everyone that works on the team because the next question is, how many brokers and leasing agents do you have, and are you recruiting for more?
Yes, Paul. Inquiring minds wants to know.
So we have 13 brokers on the team, and there's going to be people that will come in and out, right? And if we are always recruiting, but we want to recruit the right person, right? Not just to have a number. We don't need to have an office that has 350 agents and 349 of them do nothing, right? We want. That's
not good for an agent either, right? I mean, that you pay. I mean, everybody that comes on our team, we want to see them be successful.
Yeah.
So, yes, we are recruiting, but at the same time, we're looking for that perfect fit. This is a family business, so
yes,
right. Right. We definitely have the tools to help them. We have the experience to help them. You know, we've seen, yeah. And the nice thing is with having Realty One Group as, you know, the franchise, the back end that they provide to us that provides to you guys is amazing. I mean, there's no other brokerage that can do what this brokerage does. And that's and when you go back to how did we get involved with this, one day we come back from vacation, we were so just beat up and tired. We're like, all right, I'm done with real estate. Forget this. We get a call from Aaron, you know, who's one of the sales guys. Said, hey, I'd like to set up a meeting with you guys. We're like, yeah, whatever. You know, so we sit down, we meet with him, you know, for coffee, and he's telling us all this stuff, and we're like, this is what we were trying to do. But, you know, the scale of things for us to do what they were doing, we couldn't afford to do. It wasn't
we didn't have the skills for it.
Yeah. And then to provide all the tools that were being provided, you can't do that as a small brokerage. However, they're able to provide so many things and to keep the cost down to practically a minimum when you compare to other brokerages. It's like, this is a win-win for everybody. If you can't see that, and it's amazing how many people, once they see the difference compared to where they're at or what they're interviewing for, it's a no-brainer, really. That's what it kind of comes down to. And it's just once they see it, once they get involved, and there's so many different things that we do as a group, you know, charity wise and stuff like that. It's just amazing. It's wonderful.
I don't think people realize, you know, in the Midwest, Realty One Group is new. Like, we're introducing it into the state. We introduced it to Illinois. Out west, it's huge.
Yeah.
It's equivalent to the other big brokerages. Any name brokerage that you would know, it's to that, and exceeding beyond that. Is a very, very large brokerage, and we're just really honored to be, you know, part of that, you know.
Yeah, it's the fastest growing brokerage right now. So
it has been for years.
Oh, wow. So I know we're going to go to a commercial, but I was just reflecting on what you had mentioned. You guys were done with real estate, and then was it Aaron that gave you the call?
Aaron from Realty One, Aaron Delgado.
God's timing. God's timing.
That is 100% right. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're gonna take a break, but when we get back, I gotta ask you guys, how did you guys survive the pandemic?
That's a good one.
Oh.
Everything's closing down. People not going back to work. People don't want to go to work.
People aren't moving.
So I'm gonna hold that thought. And that's when we're gonna come back and talk about how you guys survived the pandemic. We'll be back to Contemporary Living.
Start your day the Farm Hill way. We are on Amazon. Farm Hill Coffee. Get yours today.
Yes, and we'll provide the link below as well if you want to order some Farm Hill Coffee as well.
If you want to advertise or be a guest on our show, we're always looking for guests. We're always looking for people to advertise. You can contact us at contemporaryliving22@gmail.com. That's contemporaryliving22@gmail.com. Now let's get back into this.
All right, let's bring Paul and Tina back in. Let's talk about this pandemic.
Yes.
All right, Paul, we're back, and Tina. So, how did Realty One Group survive the pandemic? How did you survive the pandemic?
First and foremost, God Almighty. A lot of prayer. A lot of prayer. And really listening to the Holy Spirit for guidance, like really slowing down and really listening to the Holy Spirit. I do think that the thing that really saved us is a business principle that is, smart business principle that is that reoccurring income.
Yeah.
So like I said, we charge a percentage every month for our services, and that is a base revenue, right? So we have a base that we can count on every month. We did lose probably, I think the final numbers were close to 25% of our business in the pandemic. So it was a big hit. So we had to do some things that we didn't want to do. We had to downsize some staff and things like that. We were very difficult. It was very hard, but by the grace of God, we have survived. And the effects are still ongoing. And we don't know, what the future holds. We know that things are getting tightened down again. But, we know that God is in control and He is our provider. So we rest in that and we just take it one day at a time. We're here doing what we're doing because we believe God called us to it.
Right.
If it's our purpose, then He anoints us for it. And, we just keep doing it until He tells us to do something else.
Right. I never like how you mean the word stewardship. I know my next lesson is going to be on stewardship because I definitely believe in the word of God. For I know He tells us if we be faithful over a few things, He'll make us rule over many. Yes. And you guys have been faithful over a few things. So like you said, He always provide. He always make a way. Even when we think He ain't going to make a way, He makes a way.
True.
Yeah. So absolutely.
I think He likes opportunities too to show us that He's got our back. And we don't have those opportunities unless we get into some tight situations sometimes, right? We can think that we're doing it all ourselves.
Yes, yes.
Like to help us through things. He's a good father. So we leaned on Him and He took care of us. So.
Well, since we in this vein, we might as well stay right here for a minute. So now did you grow up in the church or what's y'all biblical background?
Well, it's interesting. So I grew up Catholic, and then over time, that's just how I grew up. And then not until Tina and I met did we when we got married Catholic, and then
Lutheran. We got married.
Oh, Lutheran. I'm sorry. You're right. Yeah. And then after that, when we had moved out to Aurora, we just started getting into. You can explain.
Just more Bible-based churches.
Yeah.
So I was, my parents always laugh because when I was a little girl, my parents didn't really go to church when I was very young. And I was going to church with anybody in the neighborhood that was going. So,
right. You want a word.
So my mom and dad, I guess my mom told my dad, we need to get to church because we do not know where she's going, what she's doing.
Right.
We need to find our own church. So then my parents, they joined a Lutheran church. It was a wonderful church, and I was raised Lutheran. But like Paul said, it's funny in the city proper, in the city and surrounding suburbs, the Catholic Church, you have these like parishes and things like that. It's very organized like that.
Right.
When we moved out to the suburbs, it wasn't like that. So we we just had opportunities to go to different churches, and we kind of got involved in more churches that were teaching more Bible. I personally went to a church where I knew that day that God was alive. Like that was the first time I've ever been in church where I could feel the Holy Spirit. He was there, and I was like, I'm not leaving. So that's how it started for us. And then we've just been in a Bible church ever since.
Wow, nice.
Now, since we talked about faith, I think we should also talk about community, because I mean, you guys are, when you look at holistic living, that is part. I mean, you guys, to me, are a good example of what holistic living is. But let's talk about some of the things that you've done in the past and currently for the community, and know, and the church, through the church.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is interesting. So when we, and this kind of goes back to where the church in Aurora, Naperville, actually, where we first got started going to church. The pastor of our church right now, actually, he's the one that got me introduced into the church and understanding, the Bible and stuff like that. And he's now our pastor here in Arizona, which is a crazy thing, right? So he's here. Yeah, I mean, it's so unbelievable, right? But
well, Tina said she wasn't going anywhere.
Right.
He moved out here 17 years ago, which is crazy. So.
Oh wow.
So, but it's weird. You know how God does all that. He orchestrates all that, right? So we went to we were in a church in Naperville, and they found out that we were in real estate because our client was the owner of the building that they were renting. So it just kind of happened that they found out that we were managing that property, and we started talking with pastors, and they were looking to build their own church because they were renting a space at that point. They were looking to build a satellite. So that's kind of how I think you really got started in getting involved with community with the church,
right?
That way.
Yeah.
And then me, I've always been in women's ministry. So for me, women's ministry is super important. I think because it was so important to me. Right? That's where I learned to, really know God through women's ministry. That's how I was discipled. So it's got a special place in my heart. I'm also involved in the Alpha Ministry. And that is a not nationwide, a global ministry that helps people with questions of faith. And I just think it's fantastic. It's one of the first ways that we were introduced also to why we believe what we believe. And then it's just kind of branches. Once you get in church, churches are always like, hey, we need a hand over here. We need a hand over here.
And that kind of spills over into how we were able to do stuff for some of our clients and some of our tenants, because we were able to see people struggle, right?
Right.
And we've helped out numerous tenants that doesn't know it was coming from us, right? Because we could see the struggle. We have an opportunity now to help them.
Right.
So we would help them without them knowing, and it was always kind of nice that we're able to do stuff like that because it was given us to give to them.
Right.
We've had hard times too. We've had hard
times. Speaking of Arizona, y'all could have went anywhere. You could have went to Florida. You could have went to Ohio, Paul. Why Arizona?
We are not going to Florida. We've had humid weeks, and we cannot take the humidity.
I love Florida.
Ain't it hotter than Florida? Arizona? Is Arizona hotter than Florida?
It's not humid. Normally.
Okay.
Yeah, I would. If I was to move to Florida, I would have to be on the beach, but the beach is so expensive now.
Right.
Arizona's so expensive.
Yeah, everywhere's expensive now, right?
So it had to be something that gravitated you to Arizona. What was it?
The funny thing is, we hated Arizona.
We came here on our honeymoon.
Oh, is that right?
And we always loved Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. Like
our
that
favorite place.
was our favorite place.
Yeah.
boating,
Yeah, that is
all
nice.
that stuff, green. And we came to Scottsdale, Arizona, for our honeymoon, and we were like, "This place is brown and hot." It wasn't hot at the time. It was colder than we thought it was going to be.
Right.
We were like, "We don't like this place." But our friends moved out here, and since that point, I had gone to Las Vegas a couple times for work functions.
Mm-hmm.
At the perfect time of year, the time of year that tricks you into thinking that it's like that all the time.
Yeah.
And I fell in love. So I was trying to get him to come out here. I kept telling him, well, you know what? I prophesied. And I said, we are going to retire in Arizona. And he said, we are. I don't like that place. It's brown. So I kept saying it over and over and over. And then we moved here.
That is nice.
Right.
That's a good story.
I know, right?
That's a good story. So, Tina, since you were doing the talking, I want to ask you a question. What is Tina's whole life about?
It's like a little passion project that I have.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like my exploratory journey with health. I think there's two things. People have asked me if I was to go back and do it all over again, what would I do for a living? One of them is I think I might be a librarian if I was doing something different. The other one is I would probably be a nutritionist because I'm fascinated by nutrition science and how and real causes of disease. Wellness, wholeness, holistic life, as you mentioned. I love essential oils and clean ingredients and all those things. So as I kind of learned about those things, I was kind of blogging about it. And it was really just for me. But I the other piece of it is I do have a passion for women. And, we kind of have always, I'd like to do my own thing a little bit too.
I know.
We have a limited avenue to help people, right? So I've always kind of been involved in something else on the side just for myself that is in my vein of interest and also opens the door for women to, be able to have some choices. So if they want to stay home with their kids and they want to work from home, having avenues that they can have a little bit of income on the side and still have the choices that are important to them. And so I've kind of always had this little thing on the side in addition to what we do.
I love it.
So Paul, I know we winding down here. I told you that time is going to go quick.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give you a two-part question, Paul. The first question is, what incentives they have out there for homeowners that's looking to buy for the first time? Any incentives out there? And then my second question would be, what would you tell anybody that's looking to start looking to start real estate? What would be your advice?
So starting with the first one, first off, if you need to work with a real estate agent, an educated real estate agent, I would highly recommend that. For one, they have the contacts with the mortgage brokers, with all the other stuff that's going to tell you there's an IDA loan, there's a 3% down, or what I try to teach our agents too is, especially now, try to get the buyer credits, try to get these credits. So it's not cash out of your pocket. It's, it's the seller giving you free money on paper, to help purchase the house with it lessens your liability. Right. So there's a bunch of different programs that are out there. The veterans programs, if you're a veteran, I can't stress enough, you should be doing a VA loan. I mean, that is by far, you've worked for it, you deserve it. So you should be getting that VA loan. It is the best program out there. And I know some realtors struggle with this when they go to put an offer in, especially right now with VA loans. If you don't understand it, get educated, because you're more likely to close versus a conventional loan right now with a VA loan. That's the highest closure rate right now. So, don't be afraid of it. Just understand it. And then you
Right.
can clients.
Can I add? Work with a real estate agent who is working in this current market and understand the market, because it changes all the time.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely. And definitely. And the second part was what if somebody wants to get started. You guys are a great example, because you're in a market that I didn't know there was a market, right?
Right.
That you can start in real estate investing. And you started off with renting out your home, right? To Airbnb, which is scary but phenomenal.
Right.
And then going into, now you slowly have started to go in and duplicate that, but in a different model, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So, and what we tell people is, you don't need to have a $2 million, 20 unit, whatever it might be. You can start out slow, at a lower price range. It's all about the cash flow, right?
Cash flow, right?
At it, right? And are you going to be able to pay it off early? Not take a 30-year loan or 15. If you can pay that thing off in 5 years, after that it's all cash flow, right?
Right.
And then you need to work with an agent that understands not only what area it is. You can buy an area with high rent and low purchase prices, but you need to understand what the city ordinances are, what the county ordinances are, because that can really suck all that money right back out.
That's true. That's true.
So understanding where you're purchasing the property and having somebody that's going to help you with all those questions, that's, you're going to have to go with somebody you know and trust, right? And that's all I can recommend is to do that.
All right.
Go ahead, Tina.
Go ahead, Andre. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. You finish your thought. We got time.
We're not a fan of those seminar programs either. We don't think that they have your best interests in heart. They're selling a service of their own. You should be working with somebody who actively works in the areas that you're looking to invest in, understands that market very well, and also wants you to be successful. So that means you have low amounts of debt, if any at all, and that you're actually making money. We don't like those programs that tell you to refinance and pull all your money out, and that puts you in a precarious position in the future if anything should go wrong. We don't like those.
Do you look at 2008, the amount of investors that had foreclosures, and it is just
people get hurt
ridiculous.
Right. Yeah, they got all sorts of seminars you can purchase. The thing about it, you're gonna buy the seminar, but ain't nobody working with you hands on and walking through the steps and nothing like that.
I can tell
they teach you wrong things.
And I can tell you how many clients that we have that went into those programs, and now they're like,
they're
hurting, and then we had to turn it around for them and reconfigure how they're doing business, and now they're like, well, I don't know what we would have done without you, because it was just you bought a package of goods.
They got paid and left you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's almost, I know it's legal, but it almost sounds like a scam, because you're not getting educated. You're not
right.
They can legally do it.
Right.
So,
and education is the biggest thing. If you understand what you're getting into, then
you can duplicate on your own.
Yeah.
But you got to do it the right way first.
So in 1 minute, because we wound it down to the last 5 minutes. In 1 minute, tell me, where do you see yourself in the next 5 to 10 years?
We would love to have a thriving real estate brokerage. I mean, that's really where our heart is at. But it's up to God, whatever God wants.
Yeah.
And we want to be, I look at it as not only that, but I want to be able to help people become successful.
Yes.
It's not so much about where we're going to be. It's us touching the lives, and helping them become successful.
Yes.
So that's kind of, whether it's going to be 50 more people, 100, whatever it might be, it's just whatever we can handle to help other people. That's kind of where we're seeing ourselves in the next 5 years, is just doing what we can, what we've been taught to do. Right.
Right.
to do, I should say, right?
This has been beautiful. When you talk about good stewards, I mean, I can feel it.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I can feel it, and we are just so blessed to just have crossed paths, and God has allowed us to just have a relationship together, and just opportunity. So we are just so thankful for you guys beyond what you would probably think. We are really
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, we got the.
It is for sure.
We got the plan.
Scared the heck out of us.
I
We're like,
know.
we gotta get out there and do something.
We got the plan to come see you guys in Arizona.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Take the flight out and see what the fuss is about. Well, we thank you.
Right out of you.
Right. Well, we thank you guys for tuning in with us tonight, for joining us tonight, and sitting and taking time out your busy schedule. I know it's still early in Arizona. It's getting late here in the India. I should say great state of Illinois, but I forgot we're in Indiana. Yeah. So thank you guys so much for coming on our show. We appreciate it. I know I talk to you throughout the week, Paul. I'll be talking to you throughout the week.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. We appreciate it.
That was a great interview.
Yeah, it was.
You can just feel it. You can just feel. You know who they remind me of? Our Rich Journey. They need their own show.
The Paul and Tina show.
They need the Paul and Tina show.
Hold on, we make a manage this.
Feeling I get when I watch Our Rich Journey from Paul and Tina. Seriously.
Yeah. I think that one thing that really stuck out, how people are just selling all these different services and programs.
Yeah.
And that's really, that really stood out because you see it all day, every day.
You see it throughout social media. You see it on your phone, on TV. I mean, it's everywhere. And you just like Tina said, you want to get with people that have your best interest at heart. Don't go through those programs. They're legal, but
I think people
learn and get educated. That's not the way.
Yeah, I think people look at all the money that they're making, or they claim that they're making, and they gravitate to that. They want that. They want that fame, fortune, and stuff.
And one thing that we learned tonight, it doesn't happen overnight. So stop wishing for it and hoping for it, because look at Paul and Tina's.
Yeah, they've been doing it 10 years. Yeah, been doing 10 years. So
absolutely. Yep. So yeah.
All right. So
that was a great interview.
Yeah, excellent interview. Yep, absolutely. So as always, as we get ready to close out, we thank God for His unmerited, undeserved favor called grace. For grace is the total absence of any works. You can't work for grace. You can't buy grace. You can't sell it. It is simply what God has given to each and every one of us. Because we believe Christ died for our sins, He was buried, and He rose again the third day for our justification. On behalf of myself, my lovely wife, Melissa, and Contemporary Living, be blessed. Have a good night.
Bye-bye.